In Chapter 10, Scoring Points with the Opposite Sex, John Gray tackles one of the most common sources of resentment in long-term relationships, the fairness gap. The central conflict of this chapter is that men and women have completely different scoring systems for love. Because we don't realize the other person is using a different scoreboard, we often end up feeling unappreciated or bankrupt in the relationship. 1. The different scoring systems. This is the most famous concept in the chapter. Gray explains that on Mars and Venus, points are awarded differently for acts of love. The Martian scoring system, big versus small. Men tend to think that the size of the gift or act determines the number of points they earn. The logic: a man believes that if he works hard and buys a house, a big act, he gets 50 points. If he brings home a single rose, a small act, he gets 1 point. The consequence: because he thinks he earned 50 points with the big act, he feels he can coast for a while without doing anything else. The Venusian scoring system, equality of acts. Women score things differently. To a woman, no matter how big or small the act of love is, it counts as 1 point. The logic: buying a house equals 1 point, giving a hug equals 1 point, taking out the trash equals 1 point, remembering an anniversary equals 1 point. The consequence: a woman doesn't want one giant sacrifice. She wants a constant stream of small acts that signal she is being thought of and cared for. Greater than the disconnect. A man thinks he is ahead because he did one big thing, while the woman feels he is behind because he hasn't done anything small in weeks. Greater than. 2. How men can score points, the small things. Gray provides a list of over 100 ways a man can score points with a woman. The theme is consistency and attention. Listen actively. Give her 20 minutes of undivided attention without trying to solve her problems. Compliment her. Notice a new outfit or a haircut without being prompted. Initiate communication. Call her from work just to say, "I love you," or to see how her day is going. Small gestures. Bring her a flower, help with the dishes without being asked, or open the car door. Validation. When she is stressed, say, "I can see why you feel that way," instead of "it's not a big deal." By focusing on these 1-point items, a man can keep his score high without needing to perform heroic, exhausting feats every day. 3. How women can score points. On Mars, points are earned by appreciation and acceptance. A man doesn't need small acts as much as he needs to know that his efforts are working. Show appreciation. When he does something, even something small like fixing a leak, notice it and say thank you. This makes him feel like a hero. Avoid the improvement trap. When he makes a mistake, like getting lost while driving, she scores big points by not saying "I told you so." Acceptance. If he goes into his cave, retreats to be alone, she scores points by letting him go gracefully and not taking it personally. Admire him. Men thrive on admiration. Complimenting his strength, his skills, or his character goes a long way. 4. The relationship bank account. Gray uses the analogy of a bank account to describe relationship health. The man's debt. Often, a man feels he has done enough and stops contributing. His account goes into the red because the woman is still doing small things every day while he is doing nothing. The woman's exhaustion. Women tend to give and give until they are bankrupt. When they have nothing left to give, they become resentful. The solution. A woman must learn to ask for support before she is empty, and a man must learn that consistent small efforts are more valuable than occasional grand gestures. 5. Redirecting energy. The chapter concludes by encouraging couples to stop blaming each other for the unfair score. Men, stop waiting for a big opportunity to prove your love. Start looking for the tiny moments. Women, realize that he isn't ignoring you on purpose. He truly believes his big acts have covered the bill. You need to kindly communicate your need for the small things. Summary of the scoring gap. Action points in a man's mind, points in a woman's mind. Buying a luxury car for her 100 points, 1 point. Bringing home a single flower, 1.1 point. Listening for 15 minutes, 1.1 point. Taking out the trash, 1.1 point. Total after 4 actions, 103 points, 4 points. Key takeaway. For men, in the eyes of a woman, 100 small things are worth 100 times more than one big thing. For women, a man needs your points in the form of appreciation. If you don't thank him for the big things, he loses the motivation to do the small